and welcome back to Creepy Cutie Crafty. Welcome back to yet another crafting video with me, Heather. Hi guys, how are you doing this week? So this week I am still continuing with my Nanna's travelling Ric Rac project using the bits and pieces sent to me by Christine from Create and Craft with Christine, and I'm very close to the end. I've got most of my boids and my fishies all done, but I've got still a couple more birds to do, and I'm going to be finishing those off this week and then putting it all together on next week's video. So let's hope for the best. Got an awful lot going on this week, so yeah, I'm going to put these on the side over here so I can make my pile nice and safe. So yeah, for most of these, what I did was what you saw me do right back at the beginning, because these are fairly pale. I opened up my iPad and I traced them around using my heat erasable pen. However, because I'm now working on much darker fabrics like these, I've had to trace around onto pieces of paper, if I can speak, and then I've been sewing through them, and then I'm going to remove that and do the details and things afterwards. So I'm hoping that's going to work out. They're all numbered, as you can see there. That's number 4, so I can find out where they're supposed to go on the list. They are, again, I'll remind you, they are based on this image here, which is the Sky and Water 2 design from MC Escher from 1938. I've done it so many times now that I can remember the dates and things, which for me is quite unusual because I don't remember numbers very easily. But yeah, this is created using a bundle of scraps and bits and pieces sent to me from Christine from Create and Craft with Christine, another lovely YouTuber out there, and they're all going to be put onto this background here. And again, this was a celebration of the Nanna's Travelling Ric Rac, which is this lovely shiny green Ric Rac here that I used to decorate a couple of the fishes right at the beginning. So I'm now onto these bits. As I say, I've had to trace around them on these pieces of paper, and I've pinned them in place on the fabric that I'm going to use, and to stitch them down, I've been stitching through the paper like this, and yeah, it's a bit more difficult than just doing it straight onto the fabric, because you have to A, get it through the paper, B, get it through the fabric in the right place, and C, you can't do that sort of weaving thing that sometimes you do if you're just doing line work. So I've had to go in and out like this rather than doing multiple stitches at once. But you know, such is life. I can live with it. It's just getting the outline done. This is one of the higher up ones. This is number 11, and this is the top left one, which I've given myself a little label with there. And I'm going to be keeping the labels with the bits that I'm stitching, in the hopes that I'll be able to find out where it goes at the end. So hopefully this bit won't take too very long, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so yeah, hi, if you're new here, my name is Heather. I am a crafter, and I do all kinds of crafting, but at the moment I'm focusing very much on the fabric side of crafting. But there are other bits and pieces that I want to get back into. As we get closer to the winter, I'm going to be starting more on the weaving and the knitting side of things. I don't knit, but I'm thinking of maybe doing a video where I teach myself how to knit and how to crochet, because it's something that I've looked on in envy for many years. I'm not much of a yarn wizard, which is frustrating, but you know, I do enjoy doing my weaving. And last year I also had a go at doing things like spinning and using the wool that I created to create some little woven squares on a pin loom, and I still want to go back and revisit and finish that off, because it got put aside because other things came up. And so yeah, but I've got a very full few months ahead of me. Not only is my stuff now on display in the Wolverhampton Art Gallery, let me know if you're going to go and see that, here in the West Midlands in the UK. I'm going to be going to the gallery on Friday night for the late night gathering, and then on the Saturday there's a sort of an opening event where we will be sort of demonstrating our crafts and showing what we can do and meeting other crafty type folks, and I think that's going to be quite a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm going to be taking some little embroidery hoops and some needles and thread with me, and we'll see how we go. Because yeah, I'm not going to take this with me, but I'm thinking I'm going to take my experimental tote bag, the one I've put on the side for the moment, but you'll have seen me doing bits on it in previous videos. It's a little tote bag that I bought from Flying Tiger, that sort of bits and pieces type store where they sell stationery and bits and pieces like that. And yeah, I've been decorating it for, well, I think about 6 months to a year now, and just trying out new embroidery stickers on it, because I'm still relatively new to this craft, but I'm having a go at different stitches on there so I can learn how to be an embroiderer, which I think is you know, helpful if I'm going to be doing embroidery in front of you guys. But it's nice, it's turning out really well, and I just need to get some more time to do some more in it, but I want to get this project out of the way first. And yeah, the next project is going to be my Christmas stockings for my niece and nephew, and I've also got my goldwork project to finish, which I'm again chomping at the bit to get back to that as well. So yeah, so as you can see here, I am still stitching this down. It's, like I say, a bit more difficult. You can't just sort of do the whole multiple stitch thing of like this. You've got to go back in and out like this so you can get through the paper at the right point, and you don't crumple the paper and you don't distort the fabric underneath. But the good thing about this is that it is keeping it nice and flat. So with some of the other birds and things, it sort of puckered it slightly, which hasn't distorted it, it just made it sort of a little bit smaller than maybe it should be, whereas this one is going to be keeping its regular size. But of course I've then got to add the decoration, so I'm going to be adding some bits and pieces onto it in a minute. I don't yet know what I'm going to add, but I've got some ideas. What I have been doing is I've been decorating sort of the top side of the wing, so this side of the wing here, in different colours to this, and the underside of the body, so get that bit of differentiation. So I think on this wing I'm going to continue using this this very, very pale green to do some decorative stitches, and on the underside I'll use a different colour and maybe some of my decorative trim to fill it out, but I don't know yet. We'll see. After this one I've just got, like I say, I think maybe 2 or 3 birds left to do, but I'm going to try and get those done off screen during the week. But we'll see. Like I say, it's going to be a busy week. It's like I keep saying, whenever you're busy, everything else gets piled on. No matter what you're doing, it's like, oh, I've got some quiet time now to do nothing, and then there's literally nothing calling on your time. And then suddenly when you start setting yourself projects and, you know, tasks and challenges, suddenly everybody wants your time. It's not a bad thing, but at the same time I wish I could have it sort of on an even keel the whole time rather than everything coming at once. Isn't that always the way though? But you know, it's what keeps us going, isn't it, really? The variety and the excitement and the challenge of keeping things going. But yes, and of course, as well as doing this in front of you guys, I'm going to be returning to my goldwork project. I've still got a long way to go on that one, but it's something that I want to get done over the summer if I can. But we'll see how time permits. But we'll see. Yes, we shall. We always do, don't we? What's going to happen is exactly what's going to happen. Am I getting deep and philosophical, or am I talking nonsense? Probably a little bit of both. Anyway, so yeah. So what crafty things have you got going on? Do you have like a seasonal crafts? Are there things that you prefer to do in the summer or in the winter? Let me know down in those comments. It's interesting to find out how other people work, and one of the fun things of being a YouTuber and also watching other YouTubers is finding out their sort of seasonal changes and their preferences for what they do at certain times of the year. It's interesting because on the other side of the planet, there's certain people that I watch who live in Australia. Hi Christine, and some of the other guys over there, and when they're doing their videos and it gets to springtime and summertime, suddenly they're out in their gardens working on their like picnic benches and things outside, which I wish I could do, but I'm enjoying what I'm doing over here. Anyway, I'm just going to quickly tie that one off using my little knotty knot here. There we go, and that's gone through perfect, and I'll just put another little knot there as well. This is all just belt and braces type thing, just to make sure that it doesn't come undone. It's a oopsie daisy. Hold on. There we go. That'll do it. And this is all going to be stitched down anyway at the end of the day, because I'm going to be putting it onto the background, like I say. So I'm going to keep that on there because I'm going to use that for the next bit, and hopefully I'll be able to tear this off. So what I'm going to do is just come in with my scissors, get it down to close to where it needs to be, hopefully without going through any of the stitches, and then it's going to hopefully come up like perforations, but we'll see. I just need to keep the bit in the middle as is, because that's where all the details about where this is going is going to be. Is this going to work? Mostly. We shall see how we go. Oops, daisy, don't want to tear the fabric or the stitches, but yes. It's at times like this I need my tweezers, but my tweezers are all over in another room somewhere, because they were borrowed by someone in the family. So I'm just going to have to wing it, and I might get my embroidery scissors in there as well, just in case. I'll put them there so you know that they're there, but we'll see how we go. So far so good. It's basically just using the stitch holes as perforations. That's going to make it easier to take the bird out in a second. But yes. So, what exhibitions and things are you guys going to be visiting this summer or winter, as I say? Wherever you are, let me know, because it's one of the things that I do really enjoy seeing, is that craft and crafty creativity is now being celebrated much more in galleries and museums, and it's being seen as an expression of creativity, not just like a poor cousin to proper art, which is good, which is what we need to see, because the creativity and the skills and the inner stories that people share through their craft is incredible. There's lots of stories about families, there's lots of stories about personal history and personal design, and it's one of those things where I've been, and I am, an art historian, and there's always been this sort of divide between art and craft, which has always confused me, because what are artists? Painters are crafters that use paint, or sculptures are crafters that use stone. It's an interesting one, but then there's always been this divide, hasn't there? I don't know why. Well, I do know why, and unfortunately it comes down to that old thing of sexual politics and gender identity, because proper art was done by men and domestic art was done by women, and domestic arts were then relegated to second-class significance, even though they're something that everybody uses every day. Maybe that's it. They are things that are reused every day. So they became everyday objects, which were then, you know, their significance was negated. But you know, anyway, we've got a Squinks coming down the stairs. Hello, Squinks. Hello. There we go. They're on the hunt for snacks. I'll be back in a second. Anyway, yep, I'm so sorry about that. Squinks had something they needed to say to me, and I'm back on this, so it's fiddly, but at least I've got some good details. In fact, I will come back in a few minutes once I've done all this, but you can see how effectively that's worked. Okay, so I'm back again, just finishing these last few little bits here. I think I've got my technique down now. Still not perfect, but you know, it's better than it was. It's always going to be difficult doing the first one because you're learning as you go, aren't you? Well, I am anyway. Anyway, so we've got this little bit down here. Let's get you out. And yeah, so that in a few seconds will leave me, oopsie daisy, with just the outline. It's always the last bit, isn't it? Too fiddly. Yeah. If I'd have thought about this better or planned this better, I would have got thinner paper, but this was all I had. This is just usual, normal printer type paper. And yep, that's going to go back in the recycling later. But that is pretty good. I haven't got the eye on there, but I'm going to add that in a second with my stitches. Hold on. Excuse me a second. Just going to tidy up all this scrap. There we go. So I think that looks pretty good. I like the way this very pale green works on this dark blue-green background, and I've got a little bit of this left over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the straggly end into the bottom and put a quick knot in it. There we go. And start doing a few little decorative stitches. I'm going to do my herringbone, whatever stitch that is, just up here. I'm going to do a huge amount on that, but I will be doing a lot more off screen as per usual. And yes, so that's going through there, and now I can go back to doing multiple stitches in one go, so that's making it a bit easier. And as I say, these ones are slightly higher up ones. This isn't the topmost one, but I think this is the second topmost, so it's got going to have a lot more decoration on it and a lot more stitching and more detail on it, because on the image, which I've shown earlier, I'll show you now. So you've got the ones in the middle here, and then you go to the top, and the ones in the middle are less detailed, more easy to tessellate, and the ones at the top are less easy to tessellate, but they're more detailed, they're more real in the loosest sense of the word. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to emulate with this design here. And this is going to be the top of the wing here, so I'm going to use the same colour as I used as the outline. It seems to work better that way. I've done that with a few of the darker colours now, but I think it looks pretty good. At least I think it's starting to look pretty good. I am a little bit scared of putting it all together. There's some bits and pieces I've got to sort of finagle. So the bit in the middle where they tessellate, there's minimal detail there, but I've got to make them overlap in a way that's convincing. Now I haven't done any of the birds or the fish in that centre line, so I'm going to be using the fabric that I've got, cutting the shapes out and making it look like they're tessellating, but I don't know quite how I'm going to do that. I have an idea, but it's going to be an idea that I'm going to be experimenting with when I do it. That's why I'm going to have a video all to that on its own, and I think that that one is going to be on my crafting / dining table rather than on my knee like I normally do on my Friday videos, because I think I'm going to need space. It's not a tiny project, and as always, my projects have taken on a life of their own and grown much bigger than I ever expected. But yeah, you wouldn't expect normal from me, would you? Not at this stage. Anyway, so I'm just going to do that one there so you can see what I'm doing, and then I'm going to tie that off on the back like this, and I've got to remember where the camera is because that would help, and I think that looks pretty good. And I'll do some more in that colour down here and along here, just to emphasize that that's the back of the wing and not the front. Okay, so just going to tie that off. 1, 2 and 3. Oh, you're staying on. Let's hope you stay on. There we go. Perfect. There we are. So just get my oopsie daisy, my skittish, and snip. I've always been interested in this because look, it's a bird shape, and for some reason my brain is saying that that's an ibis, but I don't know, so I'll have to look that up because I think that's quite interesting. You can also see, I'm sure I've been using it because it used to be this little brassy colour everywhere, but down here it's mostly just steel, so I've worn down the plating on it somewhat. Shows you how much I've been using it, doesn't it? Anyway, so let's turn this over. I'll do some more of that off screen, oopsie daisy, but for now I need to do some stitching along here and down here. So I want to do something a little bit decorative. Actually, I did have an idea. I'm going to bring in my gold thread again, and possibly some of the white as well. I don't know. I think I'm going to save the white for the other one that's going to be right at the top, but I am going to bring in some gold, so I'm going to just have just a couple of lines going across like that, maybe. I don't know, because I want to have mostly white stitches up here. How big is this thread, this thing here? This is, it's a silk thread, a silk ribbon, but yeah, I don't know. It's got that nice sort of rough feeling that silk has, but am I going to put some black on there as well? I think I might actually. This is not going to be as complicated as the last time I used this silk ribbon, because I don't want it to be. And this is going to hopefully highlight the white stitching that I'll be using, because I'm going to be using some white and some pale grey, and then I'm going to do a little bit of that over the top. So I've got some, I think I'm going to go with the pale grey this time. So I'm going to do my usual thing of pulling out a length, then tying it off, and then I'm going to split it into 3 threads. There we go. So I'm separating the 6 strands into 3, lifting it up and letting the weight of the bobbin pull them apart. There we go. This is the method that seems to work best for me. I've seen other people just pull it straight from the thread, but this is the way that works best for me. So that's what I'm going to keep doing. And I'll put that there. And where's my threader? There we go. And where's my needle? Just there. Okay, so and the knot on the ends. There we go. So that piece of fibre just keeps getting caught, doesn't it? There we go, got it now. Not going to do anything overly fandangly. Like I say, this is going to be more to emphasize the white of the thread. So I'm going to pull that way a little bit, bring that in there, fold that over just a touch, and stitch. These are not super decorative stitches, these are just anchoring stitches for now. And I'm just going to put that into there. Got to remember to show you guys as well. Sorry guys, I keep forgetting that I'm on camera. After however many years of being a YouTuber, you'd think I'd remember, but I don't. Same with most other sort of crafty YouTubers. I get so into what I'm doing, I forget that I need to A, talk, and B, show you what I'm doing. But yes. There we go. And bring that one to there. The thing about this is I want it to be wrinkly because I want to have that texture. It's the same sort of texture that I've used in previous birds, but yes. I was expecting this task to only take me maybe a week or two, and it's taken me a bit longer than that. But then again, you know, I always underestimate how long these tasks and projects are going to take me. But yes, I keep forgetting that I have the rest of my life to get on with as well. It's easily done. Forget that I've got to look after my house, and I've got to feed my family, and and I've got to go to work so I can afford all my crafting equipment and my crafting supplies. But yes, but I'm definitely enjoying it. I'm really hoping that I'm going to be doing justice to the supplies that Christine sent me. And yeah, I'm really enjoying how this is turning out. It's turning out to be much more of a grand design than I was expecting. But you know, if you don't challenge yourself, you're not gonna grow, are you? It's an interesting one. And yes, and I'll do a little white stitch in there. See, it's not showing up too much against that background because it's a very sort of similar hue, similar sort of depth of colour, but I think it works. I think it looks pretty good. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to actually wash this. I might iron it on a dry iron, but I don't know about washing it because, as I say, some of these silks are ribbon. These ribbons are silk, or at least they claim to be. I haven't done a burn test on them or anything like that, but yeah, well, we'll find out, won't we? Okay, so let's just bring that in there, and I can just spread that sort of out like that. Then I'm just going to come in there, and I'm going to do a herringbone stitch. Again, feel free to correct me down in the comments. Is it a herringbone stitch or not? I am still trying to find out what it is, but I haven't yet found the correct name for it. Anyway, could be a fishbone stitch, could be a herringbone stitch. I've looked it all up, cannot find the correct name, but it's not going to stop me from making with it. Anyway, so there we go. It's almost like an interlocking series of open chain stitches. It's an odd one, but I like it. I like how it looks, so I'm going to keep doing it. I think it's turning into one of my favourite stitches, but I don't know. I don't know what it's called, but I like the way it works, especially as it's sort of standing in for the bird's feathers here. And also using the long sort of lazy daisy type stitches is very useful for creating that sort of feathery feel that I'm going for with these designs. But yes, and I'm not going to do a big one on there because I don't want to. I'm going to have some more overlapping and things just to emphasize. So the next one's going to be much smaller, and then coming out there we go. I could do another one just in there, but I'm going to do one over this side first, just to get this in place. And of course, if I don't manage to finish this off all in one go, which I probably won't, I'll be finishing it off screen so you guys can see it at the end of the video, same as usual. Also, let me know down in the comments, have you also had a go at this Nanna's Travelling Ric Rac project? What did you create with it? What did it inspire you to create? For me, it's about migration, about travelling around the world, about how creativity and crafting changes us and how we become something new through our experiences. I guess, or is that getting a bit too arty-farty for you? I don't know. It's a funny perspective to have, but I do see it as people become changed, they become different through their experiences and through what they've gone out to learn, and they become much more aware of different kinds of processes, they become more aware of different kinds of crafty backgrounds, they become more aware of who they are and where they're from, and I think that makes a big difference, isn't it? And it is something that, you know, people say they get in touch with their heritage and with their roots through finding stories, finding crafts, finding, you know, things that they have in common with their ancestors, or interests that they have in common with their ancestors. It's a fun thing to explore, I think. But yes, I don't know if I'm getting in contact with my ancestors. My mother is very much of a knitter / crocheter, but I don't know more than that from my other side of my family. I mean, it's an odd one, and I guess for a lot of people they were encouraged, let's put it that way, to lose their crafty backgrounds because the world was moving on and modernising, and they see this as a pattern, or as a process from older times. I don't know. I may just be blethering and talking nonsense, but that's no less than you'd expect from me, isn't it? Yes. So yeah, my next project after this one for the Friday videos is going to be the crazy quilted Christmas stockings that I'm going to be making for my niece and nephew, and I'm really looking forward to that one. Something a little bit less formal than this, maybe, just trying to bring in some colours and some ideas. I'm very aware that they're still very, very tiny, so they may not wholly be aware of what kind of colours and shapes and motifs and things that they like, but hopefully I'll do something that they'll love and appreciate as they get older. But we'll see how it goes, same as always. Anyway, so got to the end of that little bit there. Just gonna finish off this feather here, and turn it over. This one I'm going to try and space things out a little bit more, because I did a lot of overlapping and I lost a lot of the pattern on the fabric underneath, which is not what I'm aiming to do. I want to kind of keep the pattern of the fabric itself as part of the design, but we'll see how that goes. So that one's there, and then I'm going to do just a quick little, oops, got all my stuff falling on me here, a little bit of this going here. I'm not even going to do a huge bit, I'm just going to do a little tiny bit there. I think I'm going to have to bend the ends over because it is quite prone to fraying, this this trim. So I'm just going to keep that there for a second, get myself a pin. I need a pin for the label anyway, so I'm just going to put that with that. Hold on, let's get this put in place here. I do prefer using the clips where I can, but with the way things are on here, it's a little bit better to have pins because it's in the middle of the item. There we go, as long as I don't lose the pins, of course, which is not ideal because then you find them with your fingers later, or with your bum when you sit, ow, when you sit down. Anyway, so let's put you in there. Again, I'm not pinning it down so it's tight and flush with the surface. I'm trying to pin it down so that it has some texture to it, so it's a little bit wavy just there. Okay, put my pins over here. I'll leave the lid on loosely leave the lid on. I'm going to put that up there so I don't lose it. That's the label that comes with it, so that's number 11 on the top left. It's almost definitely going to come off, but we'll see. And then I can use the other half of the thread that I prepped earlier. And there we go. Oopsie daisy. There we are. All set and ready to go. Again, these are just anchoring stitches, nothing more than that. And then I'll come in with the decorative stitching a little bit afterwards. I do like the fact that with this one here, you can't quite see where the fabric ends because you've got these feathers, and it just makes it more integral to the overall design. So I think it works, but we shall see. It's going to be interesting because the background, I'm hoping to keep a lot less decorative, a lot less patterned, a lot less, you know, overworked with trim and shapes and things. Going to keep the decoration to a minimum, but I'm still going to add something to keep the whole design together. But I don't know. We'll see how we go with that one. Let that pin can come out so I don't stab myself with it, which I've already done twice. Anyway, and then over on this side, I will, oopsie daisy, I'll come in underneath like that. Just flatten it out a bit. And then get that in there. And again, forget that I'm presenting to an audience, so I stop talking. normally on my shorter videos I do lots of stuff in silence so that you can just see what I'm doing and listen to some background music. But on my Friday Fabric Fumbles, I try to have the background music as just background music, just because I think that suits me better. However, I do still forget to talk, which is kind of funny, because when I do the shorter videos for the bigger projects, such as the gold work and stuff, I keep forgetting that I don't need to talk all the way through it. So, because I've got so used to doing the Friday videos and just talking about whatever comes into my head, it's just winds up with making it a little bit more difficult to sort of cut out all the bits where I'm talking, because I'm talking more than I should be for those kinds of videos. It's funny. It's what you get into the habit of doing, isn't it, really? And then you forget on the other one that you're not doing the thing that you're doing with the first one. So on the Friday Fabric Fumbles, I forget to speak, and on the longer form ones, I forget that I'm supposed to stop speaking, which neither is ideal. But yes, and I do try to edit out all the nonsense, because as you may have noticed, I do live on a street where during the summer people like to air their grievances on the street at the top of their the volumes of their voices. So I do try to make sure that that doesn't get into the videos, but such is life. And part of that, unfortunately, is that they play music, and if I wind up having music from their car getting into my video, I'll have a copyright issue, which is never good, but most of the time I catch it, but sometimes, unfortunately, it does get in, so I have to cut out chunks of whatever I'm been videoing. Anyway, so yeah, how are you all doing? I mean, it's been a weird old time recently, isn't it? We've got a lot of stuff going on all around the world, which is not ideal for a lot of people, but it does seem like there's a lot of good guys coming up to the fore and showing the world what good can be done, which is always a beautiful thing to see. But I don't think we need more heroes. I think we need more people just to remember that they're human in many ways, and everybody else who's human deserves to have the life that they want. But yes, it's very hard at the moment not to talk political stuff, and you know, if you want political opinions out there, or social opinions, there are lots of channels that will do that, and I tune into a lot of people who are following what's going on in various parts of the world and trying to promote the best of us rather than the worst. But at the same time, it's something that I'm very aware doesn't need to bleed into my my crafty videos, because that's not what we're here for. We're here for a bit of happy stitching and not thinking about the world outside for a little while. Well, I suppose we call it little brain breaks, little brain holidays, away from the reality that's somewhat encroaching at the moment. Don't you agree? I think so. But at the same time, you can't help but have certain feelings about what's going on in the world. But anyway, I'm going to get off that, because you don't need that in your stitch along time, and neither do I. So, got that one in place, and I'm just going to do one more bit of trim, and fix that in place. Right, so just going to tie that off. I'll be back in just a second. Actually, no, I don't think I need to. I've got plenty there to stitch stuff on with. So I'm just going to park it over here, and then I'm going to come back in with some more of this stuff. And let's have a look. So we've got a little bit to go there. Do I need to be that long? Let's have it to about there. And it may seem weird that I've covered up this gold with the white, but I want that. I don't want the gold to be too overwhelming. I want it to be a part of what I'm making, not taking over the whole thing. So let's see where we're going to come in. So I'm going to say just oopsie-daisy there. And I should be able to get that stitched down before I have to refresh my thread. Yep. There we go. There we go. And then curve that under. And keep the stitch going. There we go. And I'm getting very close to my hour. I've got some bits and pieces I need to cut out, so hopefully it won't be too much. But yes, there we go. I'm just going to scrunch it up there because I've got this line here that I can stitch over and add to it, but we'll see how we go with that one. I'm gonna poke that into oopsie daisy, that bit there, and then oopsie daisy. Keep saying oopsie daisy today. Oh well. There we are. And one in there too. And tuck that into the space. There we are. It looks a bit weird, but I can live with that. Going to do a quick stitch there, and then I'm just going to tie that one off and replace the thread. So back in a second. Okay, so I'm just going to do this last little feather here, and then I'm going to call it a day, because don't want to ramble on for too long. Anyway, so I'm trying to keep these feathers kind of nice and small, just to make sure they don't overwhelm the whole of the design. But I do like the way the white ones are looking on the darker fabric. I think it looks pretty good, in my humblest of opinions. But yes. And yes. But I am really looking forward to putting this all together and seeing how the finished items turned out. And I've been going on to Christine's Facebook group called Slow Stitching Friends, and checking out what other people have been doing, because it's fun to see how many different people have come up with so many different designs based on the same things, and where they've taken it. It's fascinating. Now, I specifically asked Christine, when she sent out the package, not to have any sort of florals and things like that, because I know that for me personally, florals aren't my thing, but I know for a lot of other people that they love them, so best to give people what they're going for. So I've got some more sort of geometric style designs, as you've seen in the previous ones, but I have brought in some other decorative designs as well. So for example, this fabric is from my own collection, so it's a sort of marbled pattern created as a fat quarter. So I've got a couple of fat quarters with different kind of marbled patterns on them that I think are adding some interest to this design. And as I say, it's getting much darker than the ones that we've had previously, so it's going to be fascinating to see them all come together. It may wind up looking like a jumbled mess, but it may also wind up looking rather spiffing. But we'll see when we get there. At least I'll see, and you guys can tell me what you think of it once it's done. But we shall see, indeed. But yeah, like I say, I'm going to this craft fair type thing on Saturday at the Wolverhampton Art Gallery, and I'm going to be showing some of my newly acquired embroidery skills. But I'm not taking this because I think, for me personally, I've worked too hard on this one, and it's too precious to me because of the significance and things, that I wouldn't want it to get damaged or go missing or have something spilled on it. Even when I'm working on it at home, I don't eat or drink near it. I have some lemonade just over there, but I always try and drink it away from the actual work that I'm doing. But yes, you've got to stay hydrated, especially with the weather's being as muggy and warm as it is at the moment. But yours. Anyway, there we go. So, yes, like I say, I'd be very interested to know how many of my viewers are also viewers of Christine's video channel, and what kind of things would you have done with this package of goodies. It's always fun to find out how different people approach the same things. It's an amazing thing, really, seeing how one package, one idea, one piece of trim, as the Nanna's Travelling Ric Rac is, can produce so many jump-off points for so many other designs and ideas and possibilities. It's fascinating. Yes, that's what I think anyway. And it's always interesting to see where the inspiration takes you, for sure, absolutely for sure. Anyway, gonna stop blithering on about that. And yes, so I have been to the show featuring my bits and pieces, and I have taken some photographs and some videos and things, but I'm going to be sharing them as shorts. So have a look at those over the next few days. So if you go into my shorts list, you should see a couple of videos about the exhibition and my reactions to it. But yes, let me know what you think. And also let me know, are you in the exhibition as well? Because that'll be very fun to find out. There we go, that's that one all done, and I think that looks pretty good. I'll add another one just there to bring it together, and maybe one there as well, because I'm going to be bringing those up into these feathers up here as well. But I'll get onto that one a bit later. For now, I'm going to park my needle up there and say, yeah, there we go. Keep an eye out for the end of the video. You'll see hopefully this one all finished, and let me know what you think of it down in those comments. And whilst you're down there, remember to of course like and subscribe and all those lovely little things that help a tiny channel like mine to grow. I'm slowly getting more and more followers, which every time it happens it still amazes me that anybody's watching my videos, but I'm very glad that you are, and I'd love to know what you think and what kind of projects have you guys got going on at the moment. In the meantime, I hope you all have a fantastic week, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you very much again for watching, and bye bye.